It's Jackie from Otherwise, and Cassie.
Hello.
Cassie's my daughter, and today I have all my children here with me, and we're going to cook for you. But Cassie's specialty is chess pie. It's a really easy recipe that she would like to share with you today. So the first thing we're going to do is
The eggs.
we're going to mix up the eggs. We have 3 eggs. So let's tell you what the ingredients are first. So we have 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornmeal, a teaspoon of white vinegar, and a teaspoon of vanilla. Also, we need a pie shell. So here we have the 3 eggs, so we're going to mix them up. Okay, so what's next?
The sugar.
I'm going to add a cup of sugar. And we're going to mix it until it's combined. Add a tablespoon of cornmeal. I know that sounds weird in a pie, but it'll be fine. And we have a teaspoon of vanilla. And a teaspoon of white vinegar. And then we're going to mix that up. So when you're mixing, use a spatula to go around the edges to get everything down in there. Because you want everything to be mixed and everything to be consistent. So we're going to scrape up the bottom also, just to make sure we don't have anything down there. So now we've scraped it up, so we're going to finish this up and we're going to get the butter. So we're going to put, this is melted butter, and we're going to put it in the mixture. And we're going to scrape this out to get it all out. Because we're frugal and we want to save everything we've got. We want to make this the biggest pie we can. So we want to put all of it in the pie. And I'm using the beaters to wipe this spatula off. I also want to show you my Mother's Day apron that my daughter made for me when she was, I don't know, how old were you?
9.
She was
That's
9.
April.
So I'm going to wear it again. So she turned it on higher to get all of the leftover off of the beaters there. So this pie crust, I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't look very good. It's got cracks in it, and it looks bad. And this is the way you're going to get them in the grocery store. So we've left this out to come to room temperature, and I'm going to show you what to do. So as long as it's moist enough, you can just mash with your fingers. So here's a little crack, so I'm just going to mash that down. I'm going to need some water, so I'm going to wet my fingers and add a little water and mash this together. More water. We've got a big hole over here, so I'm going to take that big piece that probably came off at the side, and I'm going to mash this down just to fill in that space. It doesn't have to be beautiful because it's going to be on the bottom of your pie. It just needs to not seep through. More water. I have this spot over here, and I'm just going to rub it because that will take from one side and fill into the next. It'll just melt together with the water. More water. And we're going to rub it here and right here. Now, I'm going to try to mash this together at the top, and it's not going to be perfect, but that's the way it's going to be when you get something from the grocery store like this. A lot of times it's not going to be in good condition. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. So I'd like to introduce you to my sons. This is Zeke, he's the eldest, and then this is Crawford, the youngest. Cassie is my oldest child. Zeke is next, and then Crawford. So today we're going to make roasted rosemary chicken and potatoes. So that's what we're going to start on now. Crawford's going to wash the potatoes. Normally we would use red potatoes and chop them up, but we have these little bitty potatoes that I grew in my garden, and so we're going to use those. So Crawford's going to wash those while we get our mixture ready for the chicken and potatoes. Okay? So the first thing we're going to start with is the paprika. And then we have, that was 2 teaspoons of paprika. And we have a teaspoon and a half of rosemary. And then next we're going to do some garlic. And the recipe calls for dried garlic as a spice, something you get in a container, but I don't have that. So we're going to do fresh garlic. So let's see if we can. So this already still has the peel on it and everything. So the thing to do is to take it and mash it like that, and you crunch it, and then it just peels right away. It's really easy to peel right after that. When you crunch it down like that, it releases the chemical allicin that's in there, and that's really good for your body. So Zeke's going to do the other ones for us. So next we're going to mince up the garlic. So that's really tiny pieces. So we're going to cut off the end. We're going to cut that off first. Now Zeke's going to chop it up. Okay, so Zeke has chopped it up, so I want to show you that we're going to chop it even smaller. Now this is a chef's knife, and this is the kind of knife that you want to use when chopping your vegetables. So if you will take the knife and put your hand on top of it and go up and down, you'll cut all those pieces, and that will make them, you can make them smaller. and then turn and go the other direction until you've got some really small pieces. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. The pull thing in here. And teamwork makes the dream work. Next thing we need is black pepper. The next thing is the olive oil. So, like I said, I use olive oil. You can use whatever you want, whatever you have. But olive oil is what the recipe calls for. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons, and I'm just going to eyeball it. You can measure. And then we're going to need a tablespoon of salt. And we're going to mix it up. So next we're going to get the chicken and the potatoes and put them in, and we're going to mix them up to coat the chicken and potatoes. And then I have a baking sheet and also a big pan because we're going to feed the whole family today. And when you're handling chicken, you need to make sure to wash your hands. Okay, so next Crawford is going to open up 2 cans of green beans and put 2 tablespoons of butter in it and a teaspoon of salt. And so he's going to get started on the green beans. And we're going to coat the chicken and put it on the pan. Okay, so we've got the chicken coated in the mixture and we've got it in the pan. So next we're going to do the little potatoes. Now we're putting the potatoes into the dish. Try to get all the mixture. We're going to use another pan for overflow. So as usual, we have some leftover stuff, and since I don't like to waste anything, I'm going to scrape the rest of it out. And now I've got a big pile right there. I'm just going to drizzle that over the potatoes and the chicken. So we're ready to put this in. See, Zeke arranged the chicken nicely, and then he's got the potatoes all around it. Then we have another pan with the leftover potatoes, the extra potatoes that are not going to fit in the pan because we like this dish.
You need to preheat the oven to 425 and you need to bake it for 30 minutes.
So we're all finished with our dinner. And we have an addition. This is Drake. This is my daughter's fiance. We're going to give it a taste.
It's really good.
Pretty good.
Well, they all like it. This is one of their favorites from when they were small. All right, the pie's done. So let's give it a taste.
So good and yummy. The best pie
Phenomenal.
I've ever tasted in my life.
Thank you.
So this fine young cook and this fine young lady behind the camera. This is some of the best pie I've ever eaten in my life.
Well, hush and
Shove more pie.
Shove more pie in your face.
Mmm. Yum.
Shove the pie in your pie hole.
I think it's a hit. So thank you for joining me and my family as we cook together. I want you to know that we've always done this. We've always worked together. It used to be all of us in the kitchen. I remember when my children were small, Crawford was probably 3, and we would make chicken noodle soup together because that was one of our favorites. And so Cassie would chop the carrots, Zeke would chop the celery, and Crawford would stand in a chair up next to the washing machine, on top of the washing machine, and with a little chopping board, and he, with a butter knife, would cut up the mushrooms. And it made quick work of a long and tedious process, because if I'd have had to do it all by myself, it would have taken so much longer. So we worked together and we enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun, and we made dinner, and we did it regularly, not just with chicken noodle soup, but with other things. And I remember that when I was sick, that Zeke would always make spaghetti. He would take care of us, and he has always been my most avid cook. He liked doing those things. And I encourage you to invite your family to join in. When children are very small, they want to help. So let them. Get them a chair and a butter knife, and let them chop the mushrooms, the herbs, anything that they can do to interest them in cooking. They are going to need to know how to cook when they get grown. Even before that, what if you're sick and you need somebody to make the pasta like I did? So encourage your children. Get them in the kitchen. Have the whole family working together. It will bond you, and it will help you, because you can't do it by yourself. It's hard, especially when you're just trying to get yourself together to get dinner on the table. But with everybody joining in, it makes light work. So I thank you for joining us today, and I hope that you'll try these recipes. And remember, dinner's at 6.